Hello, hello. As you can hear, my kitty is not happy to be on the screen today. What? What's the matter? It's Halloween. I don't want to be seen. I'm a black kitty. Oh my. He's in a grumpy mood. So we're going to let him go. Mayo's he's grumpy today. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Quoth the Raven Lewis Bright Raven. It is Halloween. Happy Halloween for 2022. You always have to have a black kitty be seen on Halloween, but of course he didn't want to be seen. You probably heard. Sorry if you missed him, because I'm not going to try and get him back. Not in a good mood. Anyway, got lots to talk about. Questions and answers. We're going to talk about the Marvel and DC recent catalogs, and we're going to review some comics as well. We were supposed to do Diamond catalog reviews as well. Unfortunately, had some unexpected circumstances today. Didn't get a chance to finish up on that, so we'll do that tomorrow. But let's go ahead and start with the questions. Why aren't you giving candy away to trick-or-treaters like people are supposed to do on Halloween? Mr. Starky Pants asks. And the answer to that question is because my local neighborhood told me not to bother. A couple years ago, when I was not giving away candy, I was giving away original art sketch cards that I drew for the kids, and the little plastic army men, little green army men, I repainted them and made them zombies and aliens and G.I. Joe figures like the Cobra soldiers and stuff like that. I repainted them all. And that wasn't good enough. And so, heck with it. I'm not going to. Why should I give kids candy for diabetes and other health issues down the road? I've got diabetes. I don't want other people to have it. So that's the main reason why I'm not giving out trick-or-treat stuff. Someone asks, are you still watching the new Quantum Leap series? What do you think of it? Yeah, I'm still watching it. Plan to watch it a little bit later this evening. It's certainly different from the original. There's different stuff going on, more background stuff going on with the characters in the Project Leap, trying to figure out what's going on and how to get him back, which you didn't see a whole lot of in the original series comparatively. Usually you're always with Sam Beckett in that show. So I don't know if I like it better or worse. It's just different. So far, I've enjoyed it okay. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with for their Halloween episode. He's supposed to be a priest exorcising a demon. It's kind of like maybe an homage to the Exorcist film. So we'll see what that is later this evening. Yeah. Well, the thing is, they're all thrilled to get it when they saw it because I was the only one that did it. But I asked last year or 2 years ago, right before, like a couple of weeks before Halloween, because I don't just buy them and make them. I got to know how many to make. I got to know how many to buy, how much time I'm going to need to take to do these. And they're like, oh, just don't bother. Doesn't matter. We don't care if you participate. And I'm like, okay. And I'm sure it wasn't all the parents that were that way. It was just a few smart Alex. But if they want to screw it up and ruin it for everybody else, oh, well. I don't need to spend 3 weeks of my time, 6-8 hours a day painting and drawing and doing to just to give away this stuff. You know what I mean? I do enough of that anyway, giving away things free, right? Anyway, next question. CBP, Comic Book Perch fan, asks, what is or are your favorite Halloween movies, and why didn't you talk about them on your Friday night show? Well, simply put, I thought John Norris and I had already discussed this in an earlier season, but it never, and we probably did, but it didn't occur to me that people would want me to revisit the topic. So I'll give you 4 anyway. Dracula from Bela Lugosi, 1931, The Lost Boys from 1987, American Werewolf in London in 1981, and Salem's Lot from 1979 are a few of my favorites. Not all of them by any means. Yeah, I probably should have done that for one of the Friday shows with Monster Fan and with North and the others, and that's my bad. And I wish someone had said something to me about it beforehand and brought it to my attention. But we'll do that next year. Just remind me. He also asks us, what is or are some of your favorite horror comics? And Pop Culture stepped in. How you doing, Pop? Horror comics. Well, look at Comic Book Perch fan asking for some pertinent questions for a change. I'm teasing you, dude. You go. You ask me whatever you want. I'm just teasing you. There's lots to discuss with horror comics, of course. And I really should have made that a theme for the show this time too around, and I forgot, didn't think of it. So next year, again, remind me. But here are some samples. Of course, all the classic EC stuff like Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror from the 50s and early 60s. Beware, which was also before the Comics Code. A lot of that kind of stuff. I'm a really fan of that stuff. The modern version, Shudder magazine, which I've reviewed quite a bit. I like that okay. It's one of my more favorite ones right now in terms of that genre right now. Modern day, I'd say in the 80s, 70s, 80s, that'd be Hellblazer, the 1 through 100, first 100 issues or so. I can't go past the first 100 issues because that's all I really collected was the first 100 issues. That was thanks to idiot retailers refusing to order it for me. I'd been collecting through issue 88, and I moved out west, and then they refused to order it because only goths like Vertigo, and you're no goth, so we're not going to get it for you. That was the exact phrasing of the retailer in question. So I didn't have anyone else to get it from, so I was just like, screw it, I'm not going to fight for it. Let's see. And of course, the Swamp Thing with the Bernie rights, that's why I'm wearing the shirt. Bernie in general in the 70s and 80s. House of Secrets, House of Mystery. Anytime you saw Bernie, you pretty much had to go get it. So that was there as well. Creepy and Eerie are good examples as well. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Also, I know some people are going to say, well, you're a Hellboy fan. Why didn't you say Hellboy? Yeah, I guess that's a Halloween related, I guess. I don't look at it that way. I look at it more as a adventure series with monsters as heroes. So I don't really see it as a horror comic per se, but I could see where some people might call it a horror comic. Same thing with the Nocturnals and the Perhaponauts and the Halloween Legion and all those type of characters, which all are beautiful comics and stuff. I recommend all of them. I just, something I had to throw together at the top of my head right there, answering your question really quick. CBP. So, there's a lot of stuff out there. Again, I could do 2 or 3 hours of talking about awesome monster and Halloween related comics. So we'll do that later on in next year. Hopefully, if people will remind me to do that, I'm going to try to remember. I might have to make a folder and put 2023. Remember, but anyway, North 3. Yeah, Bernie Wrightson, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Jack Davis, Bernie Wrightson, Jack Kamen, Al Feldstein, all those guys. Just awesome stuff back then. Okay. So if you have a question you want to ask me, Quoth the Raven, lbr72@gmail.com, subject QTR, Q&A is a place to contact me at, and I'll do my best to answer your question on the air, or if I can't answer it on air, I'll try to ask it or answer it privately via email. Okay. Let's see what other cool stuff we got. We've got something messed up here is what we've got. So let me go ahead and get my orders here renamed here, if I can figure it out. Yeah. I don't know why I did this. It didn't rename the files I needed it to name, so I have to quickly rename these files so it's not all out of order. Isn't that nice? Make sure it's in order now. It seems to be. Okay. Oh, I hope it's right. Okay. All right. Next thing to talk about is catalogs. All right. We got the full previews catalog, and we also got DC Connect number 30, which is the newest DC catalog, and Marvel's free previews number 14 for 2022 as well. We're only going to talk about the Marvel and DC stuff because I didn't get a chance to finish up all of the write-up for the Diamond previews because I had to take care of some extra errands that I didn't know I was going to have to take care of. And so it took me a long time to get that done because it took them like 45 minutes to 50 minutes to get my father's flu shot and COVID update shot, booster shot at the pharmacy. And that killed my time, among other things. So, but that was the main thing. So let's talk about DC real quick. Oh, Gray Morrow. There's another good example, another good artist. Yeah, yep, absolutely. Okay, DC. What did I think of this silly catalog here? Well, let's talk about it. To be honest, there's not a whole lot in here that excites me. The cover that you see advertises their newest event storyline, DC Universe Lazarus Planet, describing it as a cataclysmic event by Mark Waid. Well, the funny thing is, I consider anything and everything Mark Waid writes to be cataclysmic. So that's a very apt description, and all the more reason for me to avoid it in any books associated with it. Good job, DC marketing. Salute. really, as I go through the catalog, the only thing I really caught my attention was on page 12. And let's see where that is. Page 12. Page 12. And that is the Batman: The Adventures Continue Season 3, Number 1. Of course, written by Alan Burnett and Paul Dini, which is why I can trust that the story is going to at least potentially be readable, unlike the rest of the Bat line. I don't think I'm that familiar with who's going to be the interior artist on this book. His name is Jordan Gibson, but the sample art that they're featuring over here looks to be okay, in my opinion. And the Kevin Nowlan cover looks pretty interesting. It's not quite the DCAU style. It's more like his version of it, but you can see the cleanliness of the work. It's not quite the same style. He is trying to do more cartoony looking figure work on this to his natural style. So, it's interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. If I had to offer other things up in the book that people might have some interest in, I'd probably go with Justice Society of America number 3 and Stargirl, The Lost Children number 3. Of course, those are both written by Jeff Johns. Even though I'm quite sick and tired of him as a writer, if there's anything he is still good at writing, it's probably Stargirl and JSA. I'm not interested personally, but I don't feel bad recommending it because, again, I don't think it's going to suck. Let's see. There we go. Those are the lists for those. You see the covers. Todd Knock on the Stargirl, and I don't know who does the cover for the Justice Society. Who is that? Michael Janine with, I don't know if that's a Michael Janine cover or a painted cover. Well, I'd say it's probably Michael Janine based on what I'm looking at, so that's fine. The next thing that people are gonna expect me to talk about is DC Power, a Celebration number 1 on page 20. And this, of course, is their Black History Month comic. I really don't care one way or the other. The only characters I might be interested in reading about are John Stewart and Sojourner Moline. And they're featured. I mean, there's Joe and there's John up there. But I really don't care about the majority of the rest of these characters, so I'm probably not going to get it. Yeah, but I understand. That's why I look at them, just so everybody can see what they are. Let's see. Assuming you haven't read Sandman, go ahead and get the Sandman stuff. Sandman Book 5 re-released. Sandman Boy Detectives, if you're into that sort of thing. I'm kind of over it myself, but I'm not going to say it's bad by any means. If you've only familiarized it from the film, or not from the film, but the TV series, I certainly recommend reading it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm kind of just a lot of collected editions of the last few major story arcs. None of those interest me. They got a big deal on all their YA books. They got Teen Titans Robin with Dick Grayson, and I guess that's supposed to be Damian. Not caring. Girl Taking Over is Teenage Lois Lane. Not caring. Bruce Wayne, not super. He has to figure out how to go to a high school filled with superheroes or superpowered fellow students when he's not super powerful. I don't know. I'll buy all my friends. I'm rich, you know. I just, I'm not. That's not working for me. If you want to do YA stories, DC, there was a book you did a while back called Primer, which is a new character. It stood out as its own thing, wasn't reliant on knowing the DCU, about a girl who got powers from spraying spray paint primer on her body and got different powers from the different colors. That was interesting. That was cool. Make a sequel, damn it. That's what I want to see. Otherwise, not really caring. Unfortunately, though, as I look through this thing the rest of the way, there wasn't a whole lot else in here that really grabbed my attention. Yeah, I'm afraid not. It's all collectibles, reprint trades of things that I don't really care about. So that's really all I have to say about this month's DC catalog, I'm afraid. Oh, well. Let's see if Marvel does any better. Now, the cover project they're promoting, Sins of Sinister #1, means absolutely nothing to me. I stopped hearing about the X books a long time ago. That's easily ignored. But the inside cover, front cover, has The Avengers, War Across Time, #1 by Paul Levitz, who is making his Marvel debut as a writer after, 50 years in the business professionally? It certainly seems like he's been around that long. I think he got into business before I was born. So I think he's been around that long. It's also drawn by Alan Davis. It's 56 pages for $5.99. Hey, what do you know? Marvel officially has my attention. I'm willing to at least look at this book when it arrives in stores. It's also more description on page 7 in the catalog. Now, of course, I guess if there was a Disney, unfortunately, this is not what they did. They have this lovely Disney 100 year of Disney variant of the Avengers here. What if Mickey and the others were the Avengers? Why not make this comic and sell it? No, this is a variant cover for Amazing Spider-Man 17. What does any of this have to do with Amazing Spider-Man, folks? Nothing. Make a comic book, folks. What's wrong with you? People would buy a comic book with Goofy dressed up as Iron Man. John Norris would be going gaga over that. I'm telling you. He'd love this if this actually was a comic. But he's not going to spend $5 for a cover for a Spider-Man comic. Bad move, DC or Marvel rather. This is what that's the variant cover for these books right here. The Dark Web, ongoing saga series of multiple titles across all the Spider books. Bleh. I'm going to skip all the rest of that. Again, this is the Avengers Across Time #5. It's going to be a 5-issue miniseries. Now, that was on page 7. On the very next page, page 8 and 9, they got a new Scarlet Witch ongoing. Now, I'm not a fan of Steve Orlando, who's writing it. I'm not really a fan of Sarah Pichelli as an artist. I'm not saying either of them are bad. They're perfectly fine. They're just not my cup necessarily, based on what I've seen of their past work. But conceptually, I'm interested in what was described in the description. There is a door that appears only to those who need it most, who have no one else in the world to turn to. On the other side of this door is the witchcraft shop. Friend or foe, human or otherwise, if your need is great and your hope is gone, there you will meet the Scarlet Witch. Wanda Maximoff is familiar with hitting rock bottom. Yes, she is, especially in the movies. And now that she's finally found peace, she's pledged all of her powers to help others who are languishing at their lowest. But when a woman falls through Wanda's door with a terrifying story of a town gone mad, the Scarlet Witch will have to muster her wits and chaos magic to deal with an insidious threat. That actually sounds interesting to me. So I'm gonna I'm not gonna buy it off, sight unseen, but I am gonna look for it in the store when it comes out. Oh my gosh, that's 2 books in a row, 2 offerings by Marvel in a row, and I'm actually talking positively about. What's going on? It's Halloween, not April Fool's Day. That looks like the old Avengers. Yeah, well, it probably is the earlier Avengers stuff that Paul's writing about, but, and it doesn't matter. Let's see. Here's a little bit more of the artwork from the interior work for Scarlet Witch #1, which, again, Pichelli's artwork really doesn't grab me all that much, but like I said, if the story can keep me interested, we'll see. Believe it or not, there's another book I might look at. Wasp #1. Now, again, not really interested in the story per se. The cover on this side looks interesting. This is I guess this is the main cover. Has that kind of 60s. I'm trying to think of his name. He passed away. The guy does Final Frontier. Shoot, I can't think of his name. But anyway, it kind of reminds me of his work a little bit. So I might look at this, but we'll see. The next thing is Monster Fans here. Hello, Monster Fan. Because those covers look good, but when you describe the books, my interest vanishes. That's fair. I don't know if you guys remember Joe Fixit, the Grey Hulk version of the character that Peter David made popular back in the 80s. It's got a 5-issue miniseries here, drawn by Yildiray Cinar, with a cover by Cully Hamner. I could really do without the Cully Hamner cover. It's not that it's bad, but Cully's no Yildiray, in my opinion. Yildiray should have been the lead artist on it. But they got a Todd Knock cover and a few other people, but Yildiray should be the star of the book. I would actually get this because I like Yildiray Cinar, but I really never liked the Joe Fixit character. Go figure. But I do recommend it because Peter David, if you like the Peter David stuff for the 80s for the Hulk and that era, and it's got Yildiray drawing it, it's going to be good. I'm pretty darn sure. Darwin Cook, thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. So, let's see. A lot of stuff to pass over, as usual. This is Marvel after all. A lot of X books that don't matter. I kind of wish that Extreme X-Men mattered, but I just don't like Salvador LaRocca's art, or LaRocca. And, if Claremont likes working with him and enjoys the process, hey, all the power to him, but not my thing. I don't really understand the Deadpool cover. Is he on Mars? Is he trying to be a Martian? I don't. It's kind of, I don't really. He's not on Mars. He just happens to be growing arms out of his kidneys. Looks silly. Let's see. Hulk 11. Not my thing, but Notably, it's written and drawn by Ryan Ottley, as you can see, art and cover. And it looks okay. I mean, it's Ryan's stuff. I like Ryan's stuff, but at the same time, I've read his comics that he's written, like his creator-owned stuff, Grizzly Shark, and that didn't impress me. So I might look at it, but I doubt I'll get it. Let's see. I think it's sad that they're doing a facsimile edition again, because they're doing a Joe Fixit. They're doing the first appearance of Joe Fixit in the Incredible Hulk, I guess. 347, it looks like a facsimile edition, and that art looks hideous by Jeff Purves. I was like, who is Jeff Purves? I don't even remember this guy even working on the book. He actually did work on the book for a few issues. Not that good an artist, in my opinion. So, oh well. Of course, you got the Jack Kirby #1 facsimile edition as well. I do like the Nick Bradshaw cover for the collection of Wonder Man and the Beast, collecting some of the Roger Stern stories with Mark Bagley doing the art and stuff. So it looks okay, but I'm not going to get it. But if you're one of those old guard fans who really like that bromance between those two characters, maybe that's your thing. Mm-hmm. This is a dumb cover. Captain Marvel with Brood Rogue. And as far as I know, Rogue's not even in the comic book, so why is this happening? Because a Brood Queen has decided to look like Rogue. Whatever. It doesn't even, I don't know. It doesn't even really look like a Brood to me. It just looks weird, but I don't know. It is what it is. Not a whole heck of a lot here. In the Star Wars thing, I don't really follow the Star Wars comics, but I noticed Star Wars Bounty Hunters #30 on page. I don't tell you what page number it's on. Isn't that nice? Oh, 72. That has Valance from the old canon, from the old 70s Marvel comics in there, as on the cover there. I mean, he was one of my favorite characters of that era. I didn't know they were doing him in the modern era. I didn't know he was part of the new canon. So I'm not going to buy it, but I am going to start looking for the trade collections of the Bounty Hunter series in my library and see what they did. They probably ruined it, but just to see what they did with the character, I am sort of curious. Now, this is a thing that really aggravates me. 2-page spread of Stormbreakers. These are their hot new artists, by the way. Now, we got Elena Casagrande. She's got over 200 issues of comics under her belt on properties such as Doctor Who, Star Trek, Angel, True Blood, Ghost Whisperer, Catwoman. Not to mention she's already done work for Marvel for the last 2 to 4 years, most notably perhaps for her Black Widow run she did with Kelly Thompson, who's one of Marvel's hottest writers, what they consider hot writers anyway. But now she is the next generation of up-and-coming hot talent. She's established talent. Learn the difference. We got right next to her, Martin Kokolo. 150 issues of work out there. He's worked on Green Lantern, most of the Xenoscope line. He's worked on Star Trek. He's worked on X-Books. He's worked on Hulk. He's worked on Thor. He's the new, hot new thing. No, he's not. None of these people are hot and new that I can see. They're all established people. I could be wrong. Maybe there's a couple of them that are young, but none of them really look between 17 and 22 years old to me and had nothing under their belt. What happened to hiring young people and teaching them on the job the way we used to? Like when we had Art Adams show up at age 20 on Bizarre Adventures in 1983 and had his first major series with Longshot at age 22. Or Mike Mignola doing spot illustrations in the Comic Reader before Marvel picked him up as an inker at age 22 or 23. And he'd already worked for DC before that, on Cosmic Odyssey and other stuff. And he's doing stuff as an inker before he gets on as a penciler doing Hulk and Alpha Flight and Rocket Raccoon. But sure. Go ahead and tell me how a 39-year-old Elena Casagrande is the hot new up-and-coming artist, Marvel. That's enough about Marvel. No, seriously, great googly moogly. Imagine what would happen if I started to become popular as an artist and was drawing a new Marvel book next year when I'd be 51 years old. Here's the hot new talent, 50 years old. Yeah, that's what I was when I was ghost penciling and inking for you 30 years ago, Marvel. But I'll give them the fact that they at least did have a few books worth mentioning that I'm probably going to look at least. And that's more than we can say about Marvel for how long? How many months have we been doing these? And I haven't had anything to say about Marvel. So the fact that I got something worth saying about Marvel, and hey, this might be actually worth looking at. Okay, pat on the back a little bit for Marvel. But ironically, or perhaps not so ironically, almost everything I'm interested in are either veteran writers that have been writing for 40 to 50 years in the business, or they've been drawing for 20 to 45 years in the business. So, Stormbreakers, yeah, okay, whatever. Oh, there is one more thing in the Marvel catalog. There is a collection of the original Dark Horse Aliens comics that were done in the 80s in an omnibus. So if you haven't picked up the Alien stuff from the 80s from Dark Horse before, because it was too expensive and you missed out on it, I do recommend you check that out. I forget what page number that is on. Let me find it real quick. If I can. You got so much collections. I swear, 80% of these books is nothing but collections anymore. Trying to find something is here we go. Epic Collection. It's $45 for 450 pages roughly, and that's not a bad price considering the amount of pages you're getting for. So I guess that is the trade paperback edition. I don't think there's a hardcover, unfortunately. If there was a hardcover, I'd get that. But so there you go. Raven, did you hand out candy? Like, nope, I don't do candy. I don't do it anymore. Go back to the beginning of the show. It'll explain to you why on the replay. I'm not going to repeat myself. North says, every Captain Marvel cover is a bad one. I don't know about that. I mean, Art Adams does decent covers. I mean, it may not be the best looking character, but he does draw them well. They have nothing but crap artists, so they don't have any true 20-year-old and up-and-comers. I don't really say they have crap artists, but I understand where you're coming from. The thing is, what happens nowadays is guys like me and David Campiti and others develop them over a span of time, working in the lower books like Boom and IDW and Dynamite and stuff, and they get 5 or 10 years in. Oh, now you've paid your dues. Now you're good enough for Marvel or DC. Well, the thing is, you can't call them the hot new thing when they've been in the business 10 years. That's the thing, So, no, they're not all digital. I mean, digitally colored, yes, but as far as the line art, a lot of them do it freelance, do it traditional. As far as I know, I don't really know most of them on a personal level. It might be half and half. Like there's a physical, tangible board that they draw on, but then they do the touch up in computer, because a lot of people do that today. So there's that as well. Was that the Alien series with the artist copying the previous artist's art? I don't think so. We're talking 86, the early stuff. You mentioned Zenescope earlier. I've never seen you review any of their books. Truth be told, I'm really not fond of their writing on the books. And a lot of the artists are the Campiti camp. And like I said, they spend a lot of time working at Zenescope doing those kind of, I don't know, bourgeois covers or whatever. I don't know. They draw, sexy women, but not necessarily the best stories. So I'm kind of about them for the most part. But I understand why people find some of their stuff appealing. And a lot of that art is also in that whole pseudo image, 90s image vein. They go after the Jim Lee Top Cow type look, and I'm not a big fan of that look anyway. Oh, I don't read recent Marvel, recent Alien, so I don't know. But yeah, no, this is the classic stuff collected from the 80s that Dark Horse did, by Mark Nelson. And I don't know if it's black and going to be collected in black and white or color. It doesn't really say. I think it said color, but yeah, it's that stuff. That's why I was saying, yeah, get that, because it's worth it. Okay. And what? Where'd you go? Are you willing to let everybody see you now? Are you going to be Mr. Grumpy Pants like you were for the first 2 seconds? Get up here. If you were here for the first 2 seconds of the show, I turned it on. He went, he did not want to be on TV. Here he is. We got to have the Black Kitty for Halloween. Yeah. Everybody see you. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. You okay now? You in a better mood? He's in a better mood now because it was his idea to be on the screen rather than me pick him up and bring him on the screen. I did not approve of this appearance. Yeah. Okay. Now, unfortunately, I was going to review the previews catalog, but I had to go run extra errands today, so I didn't have a chance to finish up all of my write-up. So I will continue discussing the previews catalog tomorrow's show. All right. So, what else have we got to talk about? Well, we have comics to review. Let's start with, it's all Halloween themed or horror themed. Let's see, hold on. What does it say? I went to a comic show this past weekend and I picked up 2 issues of Imagine from 1978. Okay, yep. I remember Imagine. That's cool. That's worth your time. How much does that cat eat? He gets a quarter of a can wet food for dinner. He eats about half of a little saucer of dry food a day. And he gets cat treats quite a bit. He mostly just fills up on cat treat, I would say. But yeah, he usually gets about, I don't know, 2 or 3 handfuls of cat treat a day. But you'd think he ate a, you'd think he never got fed the way he acts, but yeah, it's not that much. He's just a big kitty, Our vet is like, oh, I was going to put him on a diet, but holy crap, he just jumped from the counter up on top of my cabinets. That's like a 8-foot jump. If he can do that, I guess he's healthy. So, okay, let's go ahead and get into reviews. Let's start with CREEPSHOW number 2, $3.99. Publisher Image Comics through the Skybound and GN Cartel. This issue features David and Maria Lapham and Steve Fox as the writers. Artists are David Lapham and Erica Henderson. Colors Trish Mulvihill and Erica Henderson. Lettering by Pat Brousseau. Covers, this one featured is Chris Burnham and Adriana Lucas. There was also a Sebastian Fiumara and Vance Kelly cover. Genre is horror and dark comedy. Released October 26, 2022. What it's about. This book features 2 stories. In the first story, entitled The Gorgomora Tree, a young girl named Daphne is seemingly acting strange while her parents argue. Their backyard oak tree is ominously overgrown and may be affecting the young girl somehow. She has a play date with a neighbor boy and gets inexplicably angry with him when he comments about the tree, and she punches him in the face. She doesn't know why she does it. A week later, Daphne calls the boys home and apologizes to his mother, only to tell her it wasn't the boy she was angry at, it was her, and that she wants to chop her up into fertilizer for her tree. Then she hangs up the phone and in horror that she said that, and then doesn't remember ever doing it. So perhaps she is possessed by some evil force within the tree. It's not really explained. Her parents are furious, of course, with her, and they confront her and demand that she apologize to the neighbors. She is sent to her room until the neighbors come, when she discovers that there are weird roots from the tree growing through her bedroom floor. The rootling speaks to her and says, "Gorgomora loves you." Freaking out, she tries to tell her parents, but they don't reply to her through their door. Then she hears the Gorgomora speak through the door, and she freaks out, runs out to the shed, to the backyard, because she thinks the tree is going to, make all of them its slaves or whatever. So she lights up the tree, she gets fuel and burns the tree, and subsequently leaves the house ablaze, and all the people die in the house. Daphne is never seen again, but there is a oak sapling growing in the next yard over. That's how they leave it. In the second story, Creators Rights, a retired cartoonist meets one of his caregivers, who's a big burly man who claims to be a fan of his work, and maybe he truly was at one time. But basically, the artist has some level of dementia and doesn't know that there was a settlement from the lawsuit he joined against the studio that's been making riches off of his creations for decades, and that he has to contact the right people to get it. Not that this truly matters to the artist, because he feels his character has been ruined, and it's basically the whole commentary about what they've done to comics in media today. Meanwhile, in his dementia, he has a miniaturized version of his character who talks to him on his shoulder, who warns him of the threat of the aide, who intends to kill him and steal the check and cash it. Don't know how he's going to do that, but whatever. He wakes up the artist in the middle of the night, the character, not the aide, and the artist confronts the aide, who is ransacking the guy's home looking for the settlement check. The aide attacks, but with the guide of his imaginary friend, the artist is able to force the aide into a bookshelf where one of his ward trophies falls from atop and stabs the guy in the face and kills him. What do I think? Well, the comic's certainly dark enough, dark humor, dark horror comedy. I guess I like them both well enough for what they are. The Gorgomorra tree was probably the better of the two stories, in that it was creepier, as you really can't be sure if the tree was truly causing things to happen or if Daphne was just mentally off her rocker. It's left open to interpretation, in my opinion. The second story is a bit too cliche for me. I've seen it done more than once before. The story's executed well enough for what it is, but I've seen it done much better in both in comics and on television. Most famously, there's an episode of Friday the 13th, the TV series, where a comic book is cursed, and the person holding the comic can transform into the monster in the comic to kill someone, and the creator of the comic, or his nephew or somebody like that, transforms into the monster to kill the creators who stiffed the guy out of his share of the money. So there's that. Now, I do wish that this cover that we're seeing here had something to do with either story. Clearly, it doesn't. The variant covers did have something to do with the stories. I didn't see them. I just like the cover to be connected to one of the stories that's featured in the book. But seeing this, I was coming up with my own story. I'm waiting to hear from a call for the governor to stay my execution, but the cell phone needs to be charged. Okay, well, here, you just hold the phone, sir, while we get it charged for you. Okay. Hey, wait! That's what I'm thinking when I see this cover. So, anyway, it's an okay issue. I don't think it was as good as the first issue of the series was, but it wasn't a significant drop-off in quality. Recommended for ages 14 up, 4 out of 5 stars. Let's see. He doesn't eat temptations. He attacks if you don't put him on a diet. I can have him attack literally right after dinner. I feed him. I go cook my own dinner. I'm lucky to get the food in the pan before he's done eating. When I'm done cooking and I go take my food out, I'd say about half the time, maybe a little bit more than half the time, I have to be careful of going upstairs, because if I'm not careful, he'll grab the back of my leg and try and drag me down. But he's something else. Let's see. Yes, great cover, absolutely. The cat can start a horror movie himself. Yep, he could. But yeah, let's see. What do we give him? I don't even remember. It's like Purina Friskies treats, I think. Yeah, I think we give him that. And then there's like these Meow Mix ones that are softer. Those are the two we give him, but we don't. He doesn't like Temptations at all. So go figure. All right, next one. Oh, actually, here's some of the artwork. I forgot I'd actually scanned them. This is the artwork by David and Lapham, and of course, the art is colored by Trish Mulvihill. This is the playdate scene from the first story, and when she calls to tell the mom, I just want to chop you up into tiny bits and mulch you in the fertilizer for my beautiful old tree. The art's fine. You know, I mean, it's David's typical art style. You know, it's fine. And then here's where they're having an argument and telling her that she's denying she ever called, and you're going to apologize, and we're going to send her to the therapist, and she needs a good fat old-fashioned beating with a with a switch or whatever. She screams no, and the mom slaps her across the face, etc. She goes into her room, and then she realizes here's the sapling. It's got little maggots or whatever coming out of it. She's screaming. So yeah, it's pretty decent artwork there. And then this is the artwork for the second story, which, not as good of an art style in my opinion, but it's not bad. I think the colors are what really disinterests me. This little thing right here is an action figure that he's seeing in his mind talking, and of course they've ruined it. They've made movies of his character, and he's screaming, fuck the movies. I don't get a cent from them or anything of that. And then you see the little guy on his shoulder. Not tonight, but we'll get into them. Alrighty. Next book. Criminal Macabre and Count Crawley, From the Pit They Came, one shot. $3.99. Publisher is Dark Horse. Writers are Steve Niles and David Dasmalkian. Dasmalkian. I don't know. I hopefully I'll not slaughter that name too much. Artist is Lucas Kettner. Colors by Lauren Offey. Letters by Frank Zavetkovic. Horror comedy, released October 26, 2022. Jerry Bartman, a.k.a. the late night horror TV host and monster hunter Count Crawley, that's the one with the axe on the left, is sent to a comic book convention or horror convention to promote her show by her manager. Of course, she thinks this is a lame idea, and they put her in the back of the show where she's little more than an afterthought. Been there. Right next to the emergency exit door, no less. Thrill. Little does she expect that an actual monster is on the premises. One has been chased into the show by paranormal investigator Cal McDonald. That's Criminal Macabre, the guy with the shotgun drinking from the flask on the right. Of course, the duo end up both after the monster, whom it appears Crowley kills, but it revives and races back out into the crowd, where the duo end up causing enough of a commotion that they both lose the enemy and get themselves kicked out of the show for being excessively violent. Which is kind of realistic. If something like that actually happened in the convention, that's what would happen if you didn't get arrested. But they'd at least kick you out. Anyway, they head back to McDonald's place, where a ghoul comes to inform them what the creature is. It's like a tar monster, and that there's two of them who are trying to hook up a mate. Only a mastodon's horn, apparently possibly from the La Brea tar pits, can kill them, which of course the ghoul conveniently provides them. During this entire mess, Jerry is trying to get Cal to stop drinking constantly and offers to have sex with him if he'll go to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting and get off the sauce. So they get to the lair of the tar critters, confront the monsters together. Will they succeed in stopping the monsters from mating, and will they ever get a moment in private to have some action for themselves? What do I think? Well, having never really read Criminal Macabre before, I'm not that familiar with the Cal McDonald character, but the duo does seem like a good fit for a one-shot. There's plenty of schlocky humor and winks to the audience, but I have to say I prefer Crowley on her own. Nothing wrong with Cal per se. I just don't particularly want to see them hook up. That's not what I buy comics for. And thankfully, the creators just tease it and humorously block them from it happening in more than one occasion in the story. And the ending of the story works beautifully and perfectly. That having been said, the drinking and sexual overtones of the story are enough to make it for an adult audience or older audience. So I recommend it for ages 16 and up. And I gave it 3.5 stars. Let's take a look at the art. This is, of course, the SoCal Monster Mania convention. And she shows up 40 minutes late, and the guy gives her badge. And as you can see, she's in the back of the thing by the exit. And they got a little sign there, Cal Crowley. And then, there's the tar monster that looks like a woolly mammoth man thing type thing. La Brea tar pit dumping off on the road. He runs into the convention. His response is great. Nerds. So he walks in straight up, doesn't get a badge, nothing. I need to see your ticket. Oh, whatever. Never mind. He's got a gun. I'll just let him go. I'm not going to call the police. I'm not going to do nothing. He's got a shotgun. Just walk around. He goes right back, and as you can see, she's not sitting at her table. She goes right back to the convention staff only. Exit only, And she's in the back swinging her axe around, practicing, while the monster is around. And he's getting in a fight. He gets tossed at her feet. It's coming at her, and she takes her axe and slashes it in half. And he's like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I needed to talk to him. I needed to question him. Well, sorry about that. Not really. So, So he goes to drink some more out of his flask, and of course it's regenerated, and it pushes them both aside and escapes. Three words, too much title. Yep. Okay, fair enough. Our next book is Stuff of Nightmares, number 2 for $4.99 from Boom Studios. Written by R.L. Stine of Goosebumps fame. Artist A.L. Kaplan, colors Roman Titov. Letterer Jim Campbell, with covers by Francesco Francavilla, which is the A cover that you see here, and another one. Michael Walsh did the B cover. Tula Lote did the C cover. I didn't get the rest of the covers. I didn't really care. Horror dark comedy, released October 26, 2022. The Monster Makers Part 2. Last issue, which I did review before, but it's been a while. The Cameron brothers, Jordan and Isaac, two rather, shall we say, insane modern-day Frankenstein wannabes who have been piecing together live and dead bodies to make their own monsters, were discovered by a couple, one of them being a reporter, and they and their lab assistant, Stella Gregory, had to burn the lab down and flee, with their lone success a boy named Frankie who is basically a ravenous zombie-esque critter. On the run from the authorities, they don't realize that the humanoid monsters that they left to burn in the lab have survived and escaped, and they attack the firefighters as they try to put out the flame. So now the story is splintering into two tales. One is where Camerons and Gregory flee to an old house in an island in the Carolinas, and their own interpersonal issues between the three of them, and the mongrel monsters who escaped the lab and what they're up to back up north in, what was it, Maine, I think. I'm not going to tell you what happens in either case, but it doesn't look good for anybody as the story progresses. What do I think of it? It's a respectable progression of the arc. Given that this is a 4-issue miniseries, it seems fairly well paced. They introduced some new characters. There's a character named Theodore that they meet at the haunted house, so to speak, in Carolina, who's sort of this Igor vampiric kind of creature who lived in the haunted house back when they were kids, which is why they went there, because they figured it would still be haunted, no one would be living there, and it's still there. Now the question is whether or not the Camerons knew him and made him back then, or what's going on. I'm not really sure. I suspect, though, that he'll be the one who helps Frankie, because the little Frankie guy keeps asking it for help. So I figure he's going to help Frankie because he actually realizes that they're more alike than he is with the other ones, and he'll probably end up off in the trio, and they'll pay for their heinous deeds, but we'll wait and see. The more interesting aspect of the tale, however, is the mongrels running amok back up north and what's going to happen there. I don't know how Stein plans to resolve that matter while still doing them stuff with the Mad Scientist crew and do it in a satisfactory manner in 2 more issues, but we'll see. I also think the Nightmare Keepers, that's the narrator in the book, I think his interludes this episode were weaker and not as relevant to the events in the book as they were in the first issue. Not that they were entirely relevant in issue number 1, but it just sort of distracts the reader when he goes off on unrelated tangents as he's supposed to be, sort of be the narrator of events. Are they preludes to possible future stories? Who knows? Even though Goosebumps is certainly for kids, this is not. I recommend it for 16 and up. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Here's some of the artwork. This is where they're at. The new house. There's the little Frankie critter. Theodore's choking out Stella, and she, he lets her go, claims that he thought she was a burglar, and he's like, "You're actually still here? Oh my gosh!" He goes, "Yes, I'm the last one, the last survivor. What about the others who lived here? They're out in the graveyard. Oh, great! We can use them for body parts to make new ones." That's basically what's going on here. So. He tells the guy to stay away from the little kid, too. So, and then here's where the monsters are at a petting zoo. And they start attacking the people that are visiting the petting zoo. And they chow down on the mama and her daughter. Okay, that's pretty much it for the reviews, and that is pretty much it for the episode tonight. Again, tomorrow we will be doing previews catalog and reviewing what's in that. I did get something in the mail today. I haven't opened it yet for crowdfunding. Let's see what it is here. It's from Mark Abnett from the United Kingdom. So he's also from Australia. So I guess that's your European connection there. It'll be This Land, most likely. I'll do the opening tomorrow, and we'll talk about it. So that's tomorrow, and we'll also do some more reviews as well. North Free says he wants to like that R.L. Stine book, but the art is just a little too simple. Yeah, it's not quite as refined as Magnolia, but it's in that vein. So, there you go. Yeah, that's pretty much that. I will do my best to do some reviews for tomorrow, get all that written up, and do the previews and stuff. So let's see what else we've got going on here. But if you like this video, or you think others might, do me a favor, hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons to continue to get content from my channel. As always, I thank you for watching and for your support. Tomorrow, again, we cover previews, do some crowdfunding talk, do some reviews. Thursday is What Did You Get This Week? Friday night, 8 p.m., Future World from 1970s. It might not be 1976. I think it might be 1973. I think it's 73. But anyway, that's our movie this week. If I haven't sent you guys the link, let me know. I'll send it to you a little bit later. And then hopefully this weekend we'll have some live draws. It says time to be determined. Time to be determined on the weekend for sure. Tuesday, I'm hoping, depending on what all we got to get done tomorrow, it'll probably about, I'm going to probably say 8 tomorrow, and Thursday will be 8 as well. So just assume 8 o'clock p.m. on average for the week until the weekend, and then we'll do those in the afternoon when I have some light to work by. But anybody interested in Universal movies on TCM all night? Turner Classic Movies free. Yeah. I wish I would have time, but I really got to get the rest of this stuff done. But thank you. North Free says, have a happy Halloween, everyone, and pleasant screams. Ah! That wasn't pleasant at all, was it? Anyway. What is going on with this? Oh, okay, that's what's going on. All right. You want to reach out to me on social media. Facebook, Lewis.BrightRaven, and Twitter at LewisBrightRaven2. See more of my artwork at deviantart.com/BrightRaven. You've been watching Quoth the Raven, Lewis Bright Raven, exclusively on YouTube. Questions, comments, suggestions for future episodes, Quoth the Raven LBR72@gmail.com is the address to reach me at. If I don't get back to you in a day or two, try LewisBrightRaven@yahoo.com. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your evening. Peace out.